Okay, everyone. Well, it is 5 o'clock, so we are going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to keep admitting people here in on the side. So if I pause for a second, that's why I'm trying to multitask here. But thank you all for joining our 2020 student kickoff for ACE here in Raleigh-Durham. Obviously, things are looking a little bit different for us this year, but we're really excited about our program. So here tonight, we have myself. My name is Laura Kaiser. I'm a virtual design and construction coordinator over at Clancy and Thays Construction Company, which means I'm working with 3D computer models for construction. I'm also a registered architect, and this year I'm sitting as the Associate Board President for ACE RDU. We also have Dina Wangberg with us, an architect over at Gensler. Our Associate Board President-elect, she'll be talking about our 2020 project. Bill Seiler, ACE Raleigh-Durham's board chairman, is here as well. He will be giving us some general insight into the mission of ACE and the impact that it does have on students. Zhu Chen, who formerly worked as an architect here in Raleigh and is now the Southeast Regional Director for ACE and also our program committee chair, is at the end going to wrap up with some participation guidelines and some information on scholarships for the year. This session will be recorded. It is being recorded right now. If you do have any questions, we are leaving time for questions at the end, but please feel free to put questions in the chat in this meeting. We'll be monitoring it as we go along. If it makes sense to answer a question right away, we will. If not, we'll just hold off to the end for that. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Bill Seiler to talk a little bit more about ACE.
Thank you, Laura. Well, welcome everybody. We're excited to have you all. This is a new and exciting experiment for all of us, being on a virtual platform. And so we're excited, as Laura said, about the program. And you're going to learn a little bit about that and how we're going to operate this year. But this is the 15th year for our program here in the Raleigh-Durham area. And as you know, it's a program that helps students to learn a little bit more about the design and construction industry. And so it's free. And like I said earlier, we've set out to look at a program this year that we think can work very easily with a virtual platform. Next slide. Our mission is the 3 E's: to engage, excite, and enlighten. And that's what we want to do with our students. We know that oftentimes everybody has a picture of what an architect or an engineer or a contractor does day to day, but this, we feel, gives you all the opportunity to really kind of understand how a project goes together. And so one of the things that you see there is we also are supporting the continued advancement in the industry. So what we're looking at is professionals in the 3 industries is working with you all, and this is your all's chance to start thinking about a process called networking, where you start to make contacts with professionals. And even though you're still in high school, you might be thinking about internships, apprenticeships. You might be thinking about college scholarships, applications, letters of recommendation. So this is your all's opportunity to start talking with professionals in the fields in which you're interested. Next slide. We are a national organization. As I said earlier, we're in the Raleigh-Durham area, but we've got 70 affiliates across the United States with about 8,000 students. The thing that's kind of interesting is that we give out quite a bit of dollars on an annual basis on scholarships. And when one stops to think about all the mentors that are being engaged with not only you all, but all the programs and affiliates across the United States, there's quite a bit of money tied up in labor if you look at the labor dollars. And that's kind of fascinating as well to know that we have professionals in the fields that want to give back. So that's exciting for us and hopefully for you all as well. Next slide. one of the things that we do is we talk to universities and we talk to alumni that have been through our program. And what we're finding is that the students that participate in the ACE mentoring program, because of understanding more about the fields, they start to understand more about the relevancy of the education piece of it, and they get more excited and passionate about the education piece. And so the feeling is that ACE students have an edge over their peers or ACE peers. And one of the things that we find is that the students that participate in this program, 95% of them enter into design and construction, or a new emphasis for us is a skilled trades program. And we have some affiliates now, and we're looking at that right now, but we have affiliates across the United States that have a program for those students that think they want to do a skilled trade as opposed to a 4-year post-secondary education. Next slide. So on August 25th, we had what we called our first ACE Day of Action, where ACE National put together a program, and each affiliate then kind of built upon it. And the whole idea was, because of the pandemic, we were unable to do many of the things that we've done in the past to reach out to students or to get donations through our annual fundraising events. So we put this ACE Day of Action together. We got on social media. We got out to as many students, mentors, professionals, and organizations, companies, to see if we could get some donations, could get some volunteers, and could get some students signing up. And that was relatively successful. Our goal this year is $22,000, and we're almost halfway there. And we still have a little bit of work to go to get there, but it's exciting to see that we are, in fact, through the social media, able to start raising some funds. Next slide. So as I said earlier, this is our 15th year. There's kind of a picture of our board and our associate board. Laura and Zoo and Dina, who are going to speak after me, all are members of the associate board and have done a great deal to get this program where it is. And we wouldn't be where we are without them, and a lot of other helpers as well. So I hope you like what you see. I hope you understand what we're trying to do this year. Because of the virtual, we're not going to be able to meet in person and have the teams like we had in the past. There'll be a little bit more about that in the future. But as you see there from our 2019 statistics, we had 5 site locations, and a lot of you will be broken into teams based on those locations, even though you won't meet there. And again, there'll be more about that throughout the program this evening. So we're excited, as Laura's already pointed out. We look forward to working with you all in a virtual manner. And I'm going to turn it back over to Laura at this time.
Great, thanks, Bill. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about the actual virtual program. As Bill just said, we're not going to be meeting, in person. ACE National actually has stated that all events must be held virtually. So we'll have a virtual field trip this year, virtual sessions, but no in-person events are permitted as of right now. So we've decided for those of you that are joining us that have participated in ACE before, I know we've got quite a good mix here of new and returning students. For those of you that have been with us before, we typically meet on 2 hours about every other Thursday over the course of 15 sessions. And during that time, you're working on a group project and learning more about different careers in architecture, construction, and engineering. So we want to keep that same feel of those small groups, but still give some more opportunities for having really specialized lessons on specific disciplines. So we've now got this broken up into 2 different sets of sessions for our virtual program. We have large group lessons, and that'll be kind of like tonight, where we have all ACE RDU students involved. It'll be led by one mentor or mentor firm. So for example, Dina, who's joining us in a few minutes here, works with Gensler, an architecture firm. They'll be given a lesson, a 20 to 30-minute lesson on architecture, and then introduce you guys to an activity that's related to your project. Afterwards, you'll have time to independently work on your project. And then when we get together in what we're calling small group sessions, that's where we'll narrow it down. So it's more like your physical location group with only those students and mentors. You'll have a lead mentor at each location, just as we have in the past, with other mentors representing all the different fields supporting that lead mentor. In these small group sessions, we really want to give you some more insight into careers and education. That's one place where we think this virtual platform will help us to kind of get into some of those spots where we weren't able to in the past. And you'll also get feedback on assignments that are given in the large group lesson and just general feedback on your projects in general. So I'm going to turn it over to Dina now, and she's going to talk about the project for this year that we'll be doing within this program environment. So Dina, if you want to go ahead and talk about our 2020 project.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Hey, Dina.
Oh dear. Are you hearing an echo?
Nope, you're good.
Okay, just on my end then. And this will be part of the fun of the virtual environment, working through the tech mishaps as they happen. So Laura mentioned, I'm Dina Wangberg. I'm an architect, and I'm going to talk about our project for the 2020 ACE year. As some of you that have been involved in the past may have experienced, the projects vary from year to year. We do different scales of projects, exposing you to a lot of different types of architecture, engineering, and construction types of work. This year's design challenge is to build a mobile live-work studio. Our site is Raleigh's Dorothea Dix Park, which you can see on the right here. Some of you may have enjoyed this park in your leisure time already. We hope that being a public site, you may even on your own choose to go out and check out the project site. The client for the project is the construction superintendent and her family living on the site as part of her job for the foreseeable future. We thought it would be fun to introduce a small enough scale of a project for students who are newer to the program and students that have participated in the past to kind of really wrap their heads and hands around something that you can do as an individual. So that's the part of the reason for choosing the scale. We also thought it would be fun, since we're in a virtual environment, to think about, where you live/work. And maybe some of your family members are working from home. So hopefully you have a little bit of a sense of what that home work blend environment can kind of feel like, and you can relate to that experience a little, especially if you are finding yourself doing school from home these days. So yeah, so that's the idea of generally of the project. And the parameters around the project this year, we have usually a set of parameters and deliverables for your final project. And this year is not too different in that regard. The tiny home / mobile live work studio must fit on a trailer that's 8 by 28. And that's so that you can essentially roll the trailer in, set the house in place, and move it out again when the time comes. The project, like previous years, will include sustainable elements. So there will be requirements for you to think about related to environmentally respectful and appropriate design. So you can start thinking about those things. And then there will be a number of space requirements that you'll have to incorporate into your 28 by 8 footprint. And that can be, you'll see as we get into it, it can stack on one or more level, but it'll essentially have to come in and out of the site on a trailer.
Great. Thanks, Dina. So as Dina said, she kind of got into the really architecture specifics at the end there, but just like in any other year, as you can see here in our schedule for different sessions, you're going to be covering all the different ACE topics. So Timmons Group, I think we actually do have Michael Alderman here, who's a landscape designer with Timmons. They'll be talking about the site. So you'll be working through the site, the building, and then really getting into the engineering within the building. Thinking about structural engineering for those of you out there who are interested in engineering, structural engineering, civil. We'll get into construction cost towards the end, so that it's really a complete package that you'll be putting together. So you see here on the schedule, the actual breakout of what is in blue are our large group lessons, and what is in orange are our small group sessions. So we've got some virtual office tours planned for those small group sessions, so you get an idea of what it actually is like in the workplace in these different careers. We're going to be talking about specifically a career questionnaire, a college questionnaire, so some things, like I said, that we don't always necessarily get to when we are meeting in person. So this should give you a good overview, and we will provide links to all of this information after this meeting as far as what we've got planned for the actual sessions. As far as the virtual program goes, I think we've already noted this, that you will have the option to either work alone or in pairs. If you do choose to work in pairs, we would recommend that you're working with someone that you already know, maybe from school, maybe a sibling, maybe from ACE in the past, or work alone. The project was sized for that small group. We've mentioned that our small groups will generally follow in-person locations and keep similar size groups, 15 to 20 students per group. We do encourage during these meetings that you participate with video calls, since we won't be meeting in person. We do think it's important that we actually are able to communicate a little bit better. That's what we're doing here in the workplace, obviously in all kinds of different platforms. But it just gives us a chance to kind of know each other better. One of the benefits of ACE is for you as students to make relationships with mentors. We can help you as you go on to college and even past that. So it's a really good way to kind of, the term we would use as professionals as network, but for you guys just to really meet people in the industry. If there's a career you're specifically interested in, you can really ask a mentor more about that. And then all of these sessions will be recorded. We obviously do encourage not in person, but attendance to all these meetings, but they will be recorded if you would want to go back for future reference to check out a lesson that either you missed or you didn't quite catch all of it, or there was something that you'd forgotten. We will be using the Google Classroom platform. I'm sure some of you, I still wish Google Meet had a raise hand feature, which I think might be coming. To see those of you that are familiar with the platform. We're kind of learning it because we're obviously using different technology platforms in our work. So I am going to do a quick demo of what our Google Classroom actually looks like. So let me go ahead and get this pulled up. Okay, so here is, we've got our groups broken up by different colors. So this is the red small group. You'll see in this stream, each lead mentor will be responsible for keeping these up to date. So this is kind of like the feed for the classroom. If we go into classwork, we'll be posting assignments 2 weeks ahead of time so that you see what's coming, but you don't get quite too overwhelmed with everything that's coming at you. Up here at the top, we have links to our schedule, the one that we just looked at, as well as the project description that Dina went through. As far as materials go for this year, obviously you're going to need some sort of device, whether that's a computer, phone, tablet, capable of connecting for our video calls. a printer to print out those activity worksheets. If you don't have access to a printer, if you just let us know, we can provide printed copies of all these different activities. And we're also, so for an example, here's an activity for a floor plan. So this is a situation where obviously you'll learn more about that when we get to this week, but to kind of give you a sneak peek, where you'll actually be drawing. You can use trace paper if you have it. We've also recommended using a clear sheet protector and a dry erase marker so you can draw different designs, erase, draw and do it again, and keep going that way. So if we look into another example of an assignment, we're looking here. Our first project or large group meeting will be an introduction to the project with drawing to scale. So we will have links to all of these different activities included with the assignment. There may be a video included as well. ACE National has quite a few videos that we'll be providing for all of you. In this classwork, you will be actually given assignments, and teachers in this sense, like I said, will be the mentors. So you'll have feedback from all kinds of different mentors. You can see here that Virtual ACE, which is kind of the overall, you will be getting emails from Virtual ACE, just to note that. We can have private comments over here, as well as class comments to everyone. So if, as you're actually using Google Classroom in your schoolwork, if you do have any tips for us on how we can use it better or different things you've seen your teachers do, please let us know. Because like I said, we're kind of learning through this platform. Just as you guys will be learning about AEC, we're learning how these different tools work. Okay. I'm going to flip back to our presentation now. Okay. So invitations for Google Classroom are going to be sent out prior to our first small group session. So based on who all is attending tonight, plus any other registrations, we do encourage you, if you do know any other students that are interested in registering, let them know so that they can get signed up. But we will get those invitations sent out to you prior to October 1st, our first session. Assignments posted by the lead mentor. Let us know if you do need us to send you some paper handouts. All the feedback will be provided by mentors, like I said, representing all sorts of different disciplines. And all these will be held on Google Meet. We do ask that it's fine to invite a friend, but no public sharing of links to our meetings. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Zu to talk even more about some of our participation guidelines and then go ahead and talk about scholarships as well.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So registration, that's extremely important. I think most of you have already registered online. On the screen there, you can see where you can go to register. You can go to acerdU.org. And under the Enroll tab, there's a button to register. If you're a former student, please use your previous email to log in. Do not create a new profile because all your information was saved the last time you had created a profile. So we don't want duplicate profiles. Again, it's very important that you register. Once you register, you'll get all the information that you need to attend the session. So the meeting invite for the Google Meet will be only sent to registered individuals. The other part of the registration includes a parent consent form. That's also required for you to participate. The way that works is once you register, there's a section where you have to fill out part of the consent form and sign it as a student. And then whatever email you provided for the parent email, the parent will receive a link to their email to complete the rest of the consent form and sign. So that process is very important. And so far, most of you have a complete consent form. There are ones that still have not completed it. I think what's going to happen is your lead mentors will get that list and you'll be notified on if you haven't completed a consent form. The attendance as well is going to be very important. I'm going to talk about the scholarships after this, but attendance will be one of the criteria on how we judge who would get scholarships. If you're going to be absent, please let your lead mentor know why you will be absent, and hopefully that it will be an excusable absence. So next slide, please. So scholarships and presentations. So again, scholarships will be based on attendance, how well you participate, and also the work that you produce with the activities. There's going to be an application for a scholarship if you intend to apply for one. As Laura mentioned earlier, I think part of it is going to be very important that you have your camera on, because the mentors can't really connect with you if they can't see you. So if you apply for a scholarship and you were never on, like face to face, it's going to be very unlikely that you'll get a scholarship, because there's really no connection there. And the other thing you have to realize is that all these folks that are going to be mentoring you guys are volunteers. They have a full-time job, they have families. So part of that participation is kind of the respect that you're going to give these mentors, because they volunteer their time. So I think they do that because they care about the industries that we're in, but also they care about the communities that we're in and the young folks that will eventually be in our industries. So keep that in mind. For the application process for the scholarships, you guys will be notified probably during winter break on how to apply for those scholarships. And they will most likely be due mid to late January. So the scholarships that we give out, one would be senior scholarships for those students that will be moving on to college and studying one of the fields of ACE, architecture, construction, engineering. Obviously, there's multiple variations underneath that main heading. But we're also give out scholarships for underclassmen to participate in summer camps. So NC State we've partnered with, there's a design and engineering camp. So that's going to be relegated to what happens with the pandemic during the summer. So there could be a possibility that that might not happen if somehow the pandemic is still ongoing, but we're gonna, as we move forward, we're gonna think that it's gonna happen. So there will be some underclassmen scholarships given out to go to these camps. And then the final ceremony, we're still kind of working through that, because again, this year is gonna be different. It's all gonna be online. So depending on how you guys do online and the type of work that you produce, we might be able to do something very fancy or less fancy. But the final ceremony will include kind of presentations from you guys, as well as the awarding of scholarships. So we'll have a little bit of time between January and March to decide who gets those scholarships and prepare for this final presentation. Is there another slide?
Nope, that's it, Sue.
Okay. Yep.
Okay. Thanks, Sue.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of a summary of everything we just talked about, because I know a few people have been trickling in throughout this session. Our design challenge is a mobile live work studio in Dorothea Dix Park. I think it's a really cool project. It's something you can really wrap your head around. Like Dina said, most of you are probably experiencing what it's like to have work at home, school at home, live at home, all in the same space. So even thinking about that in a tinier space, I think should be a good challenge for everyone. We'll have large group lessons and small group sessions using Google Meet. So next steps, Zoo just mentioned, you need to register. That's how we'll be doing, it's not like in the past you could just kind of show up at a physical location and start the year. We do need you to register. You can do that on our website. You'll need to go ahead and accept those Google Classroom student invitations when those go out end of this month prior to our first session October 1st, when we do have our first small group meeting. And that meeting will be only with your lead mentor, the mentors at your location, and students at your location.
And another reason why you need to register is we need to find out, either where your high school is or where you live, so that we can split you up into the small group teams. We look at, obviously we want to put you on a location where if things do go back in person, you'll still be with the same students and mentors, and there's that relationship that continues and is constant. But I know some of you, because this year is virtual, we allow students that are outside of our region to participate. So some of those students will just we'll just put in locations that we feel that makes the most sense, okay? But for the rest of you that are within our normal geographic locations, we'll try to put you where you either were before. So if last year you were an A student, we'll put you in the same team. And then we'll look at the high school and where you live as the next criteria on which team you're going to be placed in, okay? And then that way, Laura can do number 2 and send out the correct invitation for the classroom that you're going to be in.
Yeah, great point, Zoo. So if any of you on this call have friends from ACE who haven't registered yet, even though their lead mentor has reached out to them and we've sent out emails, go ahead and reach out to them and tell them it really is important that they go ahead and register.
A couple things also to keep in mind, as Zoo has pointed out about the registration. If somebody's having difficulty, if you will let us know, you can go to our website at www.acerdu.org, and there's an email there that you can send to us, and we will get back to you if for some reason things aren't working out. But as Laura's already pointed out, in past years, it wasn't quite as critical to have it all together, but this year it is extremely critical. So if in fact you are having some difficulties, please let us know. Another point that Laura pointed out, or Dina, I can't remember who, with regards to if you don't have a printer, we can get your information printed. I guess I would even get even more basic than that. We may have some students. We assume that because we're in Wake County, our demographics are pretty upscale, but if we have a student out there that doesn't have a computer, if you will let us know, we'll work on that for you as well, because to be able to successfully work on this program this year, one is going to need a computer. And then lastly, on the schedule that Laura said we're going to send out links. If you want to see the schedule, it's on the website as well. And you can go and look at it so that you can put it on your calendar so you know exactly when you're going to have large sessions, when you're going to have small sessions. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Laura, but I think you've made a comment that the link for all the sessions is going to be, for the large sessions, is going to be the same.
Yes, it will be the same. And the same for each small group. Each, red group is going to have the same link every time. So you just got to get it that one time and it'll be the same. Mm-hmm.
So, basically, starting October 1st, we will be meeting every Thursday from 5 to 6, unless it's a holiday week. So just keep that in your mind, and then if you're going to set up your own calendar as a reminder, it's pretty much every week through February.
Okay. So does anyone have, and I didn't have to say this at the beginning, y'all did a really good job of muting yourself. We're obviously all getting used to this. But if anyone has any questions for us, please feel free. I know we've got students and parents here. If you don't feel like talking, you can post it in the chat, or if you want to go ahead and unmute yourself, just give us your questions. Or did we do that good of a job of explaining everything? I saw a thumbs up, so we must be good. Like I said, we are really excited. there are things that are obviously kind of bummer, like final presentation. Who knows, that still may happen, you never know. But we do think we'll be able to reach out to a lot of people. I do have one question here. I did not hear you. How often are there small group meetings? So let me go ahead and flip back to our schedule real quick. I think you might have jumped on late. Okay, so small group meetings are the ones highlighted here in orange. So they're about every 4th week. We do, we always want to encourage communication between students and mentors. And since it is going to be a little bit different, this first small group meeting on October 1st, your individual location mentors will talk to you about how they kind of expect things to run, how you can contact them. We've kind of set like assignments due on the Tuesday prior is what, at least at my location, I'm thinking, so that mentors have a dedicated time. Like Zoo said, we all do have full-time jobs. So it's really helpful to be able to set aside a time just for ACE. So I think another question I see on here is, yes, every Thursday we meet for an hour, and then you have independent time. So, a typical ACE session would have been 2 hours long, shortened it to an hour, then you have time to work on your project on your own.
So now that we're on this session schedule and talking about the small group sessions, I think it's very important that you guys understand that the small group sessions is your opportunity to find out more about the professions you might be interested in. I know we have certain things set up, maybe the first half of the small group, like a virtual office tour. On December 3rd, we have like a career questionnaire, so you can ask basically any of the mentors questions about what they do as a profession. We have another office tour, probably of another type of profession. So the first one might be an architect's office, and the second one could be a contractor's office. And then on the 28th, we'll talk a little bit more about college and the next steps if you plan to pursue these careers on the next level. So really take advantage of the small group sessions, because it's just a way to dive deeper into these professions that you might want to know more about, so that you can make the decision to pursue a career in those fields.
I think one thing also to think about is, you said you're on your own. The first meeting is a small group session, so you're going to get to meet your lead mentor and your mentors. And so I think if after you've had a large meeting and you're completely confused or you don't understand anything, you can contact via email your mentor or mentors and get questions answered. It's not like you're not going to be able to contact a mentor from October 1st until October 29th. That's the reason we have the mentors, is to work with you all. And so through the email, we can respond, and we can probably also meet virtually. However, if we do meet virtually with you, we have to have 2 mentors. That's just for everybody's protection. So I think there's lots of ways, even in a virtual world, to be able to answer questions and to keep you all engaged if in fact you have questions. So don't think that you're just going to go to a large session and then you won't be able to talk to anybody for 3 or 4 weeks.
There's another question that came up. A parent said they never got the parent consent form.
Yeah, we'll reach out to you, Robin, after this meeting and see what's going on. We can resend it. Like Bill said, you can reach out to us on email. Our contact information is on our website, acerdu.org. We also post on Facebook, and we will post session reminders, different things geared towards students and parents on Facebook. So please follow us there. Also on Instagram, and then for mentors, we post on LinkedIn. So we are out there on social media. Follow us if you want some more reminders, and we will contact you via email as well.
And then Laura mentioned in the beginning that here's an opportunity if you know any friends or students at your school that might be interested in learning about the ACE professions, try to get them to register. And this meeting is going to be recorded and posted on our website. So once you get somebody on board, maybe they want to hear about how it's going to be run, just like you're hearing right now, you can refer them to this recording.
Good point, Sue. Okay. Do we have any other questions from students or parents? Dina, Bill, or Sue, any last minute comments?
No, just thank you to everybody for tuning in and participating. And as Laura and Sue and Dina have already said, we're excited about this year. It's going to be different, and we're not quite sure how it's all going to go, but we're excited about trying it, and it could lead to something very exciting for the future when you can't get to a student any other way other than virtual. So we're excited that we may be breaking ground in a way that will allow us to reach more students that are interested in the ACE fields, but are not, say, local. And as Sue's already pointed out, we've got some students that are outside our range that have heard about us and are participating with us this year virtually. So it's an exciting time. It's a scary time, but it's also exciting. So thank you again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
If you do have any questions, I saw there was one last question about meeting once a week or every 2 weeks. It is once a week for this virtual platform. So please go ahead and follow us on Facebook for updates. Feel free to contact us at info@acerdu.org and let all your friends know. So we'll be able to get ACE going in just a few weeks here, not far away. So thank you all, and we will see you all again on the 1st. Thank you.